Begin log. The Earth was forever altered in 1995 when a meteor struck the Tiber River, releasing a substance unlike anything before seen on the planet. An organic, plant-like pod dubbed Tiberium. This substance leached from the Earth its mineral wealth and brought it to the surface in great crystalline structures. The rapid spread of such structures through Central Asia, the American heartland, Africa, and the Mediterranean devastated local environments, poisoning plants, beast, and man alike. The nations of the Earth proved incapable of halting its spread and began to collapse under the strain. Those that remained coalesced into one of two great powers: the Global Defense Initiative, the remnants of the United Nations, and the Brotherhood of Nod, an autocratic quasi-state and religious movement. They were left fighting for control of what little remained, a world seemingly in its final death throes. To those watching from afar, living within the asteroid belt and beyond human detection, this is exactly what they had long hoped for. The humanity they would be called Scrin, a technologically advanced race, motivated by what some might call the cult of addiction in the guise of a species. They descended upon worlds in their final stages of collapse brought about by Tiberium, to harvest any and all resources that remain. Their society was hierarchical in nature, with power and authority concentrated upward into a figure known only as the Overlord, a figure responsible for overseeing all harvesting operations across the galaxy. Beneath this Overlord exist a number of supervisors, individuals responsible for overseeing lower levels of leadership, who then in turn manage local harvesting and systems operations. Their culture was built around various castes, cults, or sects. Each provided a specialty to the greater whole. Among the more prominent groups were the Travelers and the Reaper cult. The Travelers specialized in mind control, infiltration, and social manipulation, while their Reaper cult brethren relied on brute force and overwhelming firepower. While each caste was united in species and purpose, it should not be suggested that such groups were not without their enmity. The Reapers were largely shunned by other castes. Their self-mutilation and Tiberium augmentation combined with their near reverence for Tiberium were viewed as highly unnecessary and wasteful. The Scrin amid the asteroids awoke to the detonation of liquid Tiberium, a signal they had long been waiting for. Immediately their vessels began their approach to the Earth, and they were taken by surprise as planetary ion weaponry was fired against them. An unprecedented development, all of their history suggesting that such a detonation of liquid Tiberium should have signaled the death knell of any remaining civilizations on the world below. Recognizing that the indigenous population of Earth remained dangerously viable, their fleet broke formation, with various drone ships landing across the planet, seeking out areas of the greatest Tiberium concentration. Their local leadership believed that despite humanity's continued presence, they could proceed with their standard harvesting operations. First, constructing a relay node, a structure which could emit a Tiberium-infused particulate, which would stabilize their structures and support the deployment of their combat forces. Scrin technology was a mixture of mechanical, organic, and Tiberium components, and as it stands was far greater than anything on the Earth, capable of manipulating the weather, generating wormholes, projecting shields, mind control, and even phasing objects out of sync with reality. Once the relay node was complete, they could focus on building numerous threshold towers that would facilitate the extraction of Tiberium resources, all the while deploying what combat forces they had against humanity's population centers, hoping to keep them divided and in a state of disarray. The Scrin combat forces, limited as they were, were incredibly adaptable and diverse in their purpose, ranging from massive motherships that could lay waste to whole cities with a single burst of energy, to tiny buzzers, sentient razor-like beings that could clear buildings with ease. Their attacks proved devastating to the war-torn powers, whose forces were already stretched thin. And as the scale of their offensive became clear, an uneasy ceasefire arose between the human nations, with each desperate to defend their own holdings against the overwhelming Scrin attacks. Where firepower failed, the Scrin deployed infiltrators. Utilizing their ability to teleport and powers of mind control, cities began to fall. Neighbor turned against neighbor. Civilians and soldiers alike became pawns to their new overlords. Despite the destructiveness of these attacks and their early victories, the Scrin were soon losing momentum, being countered and pushed out of Australia and Northern Europe. Human forces finding their harmonic resonance technology, originally built for containing Tiberium growths, also proved surprisingly effective against Scrin soldiers. Worse than these setbacks, the fighting spread to the Tiberian fields, to the threshold towers themselves, and in the land twisted by Tiberium, the Scrin fought a desperate holding action, as one tower after the other fell before humanity. Pushed to the brink, the Scrin consolidated their forces in southern Italy, around the relay node and the last of their threshold towers. The fighting was fierce as the Scrin threw everything they had at humanity. Swarms of infantry and buzzers, tanks, walkers, and airships, even a few of their mighty motherships. It was not enough. Even as their tower was completed, the relay node fell, and its destruction began a cascade failure throughout the Scrin forces, their soldiers literally dissolving before their foes. Their vehicles, structures, and aircraft came crashing down. And through this chaos, a single mothership escaped through a rift opened by the last of their towers. That tower, in its completion, was brought out of sync with reality. It was now immune to any human effort to destroy it. It remained a lone vestige of the Scrin on the Earth, connected to their wormhole network, and knowing the Scrin's desire for Tiberium. It is a near certainty that the people of Earth have not seen the last of them.